G'day everyone, if you're looking to upgrade your Hoi 4 game with some of the DLCs, but you aren't sure what features are included or how to use them, then look no further. By the end of this video, you'll be an expert in all the features from the major expansions, including Man the Guns, La Résistance, No Step Back, By Blood Alone, Arms Against Tyranny, and the most recent one, Götterdämmerung. My name's HamoTime, and I make guides and tutorials for Hearts of Iron 4. If you enjoyed this video, please let us know in the comments below, and subscribe to the Hearts of Iron 4 YouTube channel for more. Man the Guns. If you're a fellow Navy enjoyer like me, then Man the Guns is for you. In addition to focus trees for the US, UK, Netherlands, and Mexico, this DLC adds the Naval Designer, allowing you to fully customize the composition of your ships. You can also assign traits to your admirals just like you can with your generals, and we get access to a whole new naval research tree, as well as some new techs such as amphibious vehicles and naval mines. And you can control the sea routes that your ships will pass through. To access the Naval Designer, open up the production menu to view your current ship designs. When you click on the Create Variant button, rather than adding a predetermined modifier, you can now add a huge number of different modules to your ships. Every design needs to have at least something in the battery slot and the engine as a minimum, with your capital ships also needing a fire control system. The slots along the bottom are pretty much set in what you can assign there. The gun battery adds firepower in the form of either light or heavy attack and piercing. The cruiser allows you to choose if you want a light or heavy cruiser, depending on the type of gun battery, but be warned, you can't mix different types on the same ship. You have your AA slot to shoot down aircraft, and you can choose to add sonar to help with submarine detection, or opt for a fire control system to increase the effectiveness of all batteries, AA included. You can add sonar into the next module slot if you took the fire control previously, but that will mean that you can't opt for radar, which gives increasing detection and hit chance bonuses as you reach higher levels. After the engine, you can opt for secondary batteries for some additional light attack and piercing, or if you've unlocked it, you can equip the dual purpose batteries for a mixture of extra AA and light attack. Next is your armor. The better this is, the more HP your ship will have, and the harder it will be for enemy ships to pierce you. However, it will make your ship slower and more expensive. The top row of modules gives you a lot more freedom in what you can install. They are designated front, middle, and rear, and certain modules can only be installed in each area, depending on the type of ship you're customizing. Using cruisers as an example because they're the most versatile, the front slot is reserved for gun batteries and AA. Anything else goes for the middle modules though. You can add in more guns for all AA, opt for float planes for extra detection, add torpedo launchers for a Hail Mary shot at the enemy capital ships, or install mine laying rails to leave hidden surprises lurking beneath the waves. The rear module is where you can put in depth charges so that when you do find those sneaky submarines, you can be rewarded with an oil slick coming to the surface. As I mentioned, the type of ship will limit what you can install. You can't put depth charges on a battleship, for example, nor will a humble little destroyer carry a 40cm cannon. Each ship has their role. The designer simply allows you more freedom in tailoring them to your specific needs. You should already be familiar with the different ship classes if you've watched the beginner's guide video that we've done previously. If you haven't watched that yet, it'll be linked in the description for you below. You can view the new Naval Research tab where you can unlock a heap of shiny new toys. Your gun batteries are along the top, and this section here is where you can get the dual purpose secondary batteries. You can improve the effectiveness of your torpedoes here, as well as increase the survivability of your ships while reducing that of your enemies. The transport technology has been moved. Make sure that you research this to conduct naval invasions, and the mine laying tree is at the bottom. You can even unlock mine laying submarines and airdrop mines, which is pretty sneaky, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the naval techs are still on the main research page, such as depth charges, float planes, sonar, and armor. You can unlock more module slots on your ship designs, as well as higher level engines with each consecutive hull technology. In the infantry tab, you have two new technologies, the first and second level Amtraks, allowing you to add Amtrak battalions in your divisions. These are essentially mechanized marines, adding in armor and hardness into a marine division, while keeping the bonuses they get to amphibious invasions. If you want to add even more armor into your marines, you can also research light and medium amphibious tanks, which add armor and hardness, as well as a heap of breakthrough and soft attack. Again, these keep the bonuses to amphibious operations that marines have, so consider upgrading your divisions before launching a big D-Day in 1950 when your game's gotten away from you. In the electronics tab, there are some new techs here as well, upgrades for your fire control systems, as well as ship-based radar, which is first unlocked from the 1938 radar tech. One of the most slept on features in this DLC is mine laying. With a simple design such as this, you can have a fleet of mine layers to either protect your coastlines or threaten enemy supply routes. You must be at war to conduct mine laying operations, but once they're laid, sea mines give you a bonus to your naval supremacy, shown in the Sea Zone information panel down here, as well as sinking enemy ships by increasing their accident chance. They also cause attackers to incur a naval invasion penalty, so if you're playing as anyone who wants to protect their coastline, consider mine laying. Provided you unlock the aerial mine laying and mine sweeping text, you can even have your naval bombers conduct these operations if building ships for this isn't for you. You can clear mines from a region by building a ship with a mine sweeping module and activating them on the appropriate mission. If enemy mines, submarines, or other nuisances are affecting your naval supply lines, you now can control where they go by changing the access level of a sea region. Simply select a sea zone, and then in the bottom left of the info panel, you can choose between allowed, avoid, where your convoys will go around unless there's no other choice, or if your navy is assigned a mission there, or you can block a region. Under this setting, no ships will pass through unless there's no other path available, so be sure to provide an alternate safe route. Finally, we have admiral traits. Like with generals, you can use these to provide bonuses or buffs to your leaders, which use particular types of ships more than others. Karl Dönitz, for example, was a famous U-boat commander and starts with the Seawolf trait, which provides a bonus to submarine attack, and it allows us to unlock further bonuses to our torpedoes, boosting our subs. Like with your generals, your admirals are capped at 4 traits each, and you can see how they gain experience for each earned trait from the tooltip. There are even terrain traits which your admirals gain if they sail in certain types of sea zones more than others. In summary, if you enjoy the Navy and you want to greatly expand the customization that's available to you in that part of the game, then Man the Guns is for you. La Résistance. La Résistance adds in focus trees for France, Vichy and Portugal, as well as a huge one for Spain where you play out the Civil War. The real perk of this one though is the spy system. If you like the idea of subterfuge, sneakiness, and using spies to gather information and disrupt enemy plans, you will love this DLC. To create a spy agency, click on this shiny new button to open the Intelligence Agency menu and click on Create Agency, where you can now choose from the unique name and icon which comes with most nations included in the DLC, or create your own. Over the course of 30 days, 5 of your civs will work away setting up your agency, after which you'll be able to fully access the intelligence menu. You can recruit a spy after another 30 days have passed, and you can choose between operatives with a variety of skills, perks, and nationalities. Like generals and admirals, these perks will help spies perform better in certain missions or operations. Select your spy at the bottom of the screen to put them on a mission, either in your own country or a foreign nation. The main one you'll use is Build Intel Network, which will allow you to conduct operations and provide more information about a country in the new Intel Ledger. Here, depending on your Intel Network and agency upgrades, you can see how strong a country's economy, army, navy or air force is, allowing you to make informed choices about who you invade. There are a wide range of agency upgrades available, which you can view by clicking on any of these options here. They will use a certain number of civilian factories taking 30 days, which you can see the number next to the upgrade, and the tooltip includes the bonuses and any prerequisites prior to upgrading. The top row increases the intelligence you can access for each of the respective areas of a target nation. With the passive defense upgrade, you can also increase the counterintelligence of your own country, making it harder for others to gain intel on you, as well as increasing the effect of the root out resistance mission with the anti-partisan upgrade. These 2 rows increase the effectiveness of your spies on specific missions or operations, with a couple of exceptions. S-Pills, censored for YouTube, thank you very much, gives your spies a chance to die upon capture. Whenever your spies are active in an enemy nation or performing an operation, there is a chance they will be captured, and if this happens, they're unavailable for a long time before you can recruit a new operative. You can launch an operation to try and save them, but if that fails, you may end up with 2 captured spies instead of 1. When a spy is captured, it also gives an intel bonus to the nation that captures them, and they may even be recruited by the enemy, giving them a strong new agent against you with your country's nationality. Having your spies bite down on a crunchy little pill and deny this, as well as meaning that you only have to wait 30 days to replace them, is hugely valuable. Localized training centers allows you to recruit agents of specific nationalities in your region, which reduces their detection chance in those countries and allows them to build an intel network much faster. This is especially handy when targeting countries like the Soviet Union, which get a lot of buffs to their counterintelligence. You can recruit new operatives from any nation in your region to add them to your recruitment pool, and even expand your recruitment centers into other regions as well, which you can access from the Decisions tab. The bottom row is where you can set up a cryptology department. Once complete, you can target a nation whose cipher you want to crack. It will take a huge amount of time initially, but you can reduce this with the radio interception group and machine-assisted decryption upgrades. Once you've cracked a cipher, it will give you passive bonuses to intel for the various branches, and you can activate this button here, which will give you a huge amount of combat bonuses active for 30 days, after which time the cipher will be reset and you'll have to crack it again. You can increase your own resistance to this by completing the Government Cipher School and machine-assisted encryption upgrades. If your cipher has been broken and you complete an upgrade, it will reset your cipher, forcing the enemy to re-crack your codes. So these are good to spread out over the course of the game. You initially start out with 1 spy slot, and you can unlock more by completing 5 agency upgrades, hiring the new elusive gentleman or similar political advisor through focus trees, or by becoming a faction spy master. This latter option will give you a number of spy slots depending on the number of countries and the size of those in your faction, as long as they're independent or at least a Dominion level puppet. Each spy can conduct a variety of missions aside from build intel network. By default, newly recruited spies perform the counterintelligence mission in your own country, increasing your defense against enemy spies. You can see the current enemy activity level in your own and allies' countries from the tooltip which appears on this shield next to your nation's capital. If there's a non-core state in your nation which is suffering from extra high resistance, you can utilize the Root Out Resistance mission to help suppress this. All the other missions are conducted in enemy nations and typically need an existing intel network to be effective. The stronger it is, the more effective it will be. First, you can quiet your current intel network, which will prevent it from growing or decreasing, but will make it a lot harder for your operatives to be found. You can boost your country's ideology in other nations, which is required for coups, as is a certain level of instability, which you can affect as well through the propaganda mission. You can assign a spy to control trade with the country, allowing you to trade for more of their resources, or exert diplomatic pressure, making the target nation more likely to accept your diplomacy and less likely to be upset by your world tension-generating warmongering. Once you've used these spies to create an intel network, you can view your available operations in the Intelligence Agency tab here. Some operations unlock more operations. For example, by infiltrating the industrial or military areas of an enemy nation, you not only gain more intel, but you also unlock the blueprint stealing missions, allowing you to conduct Mission Impossible Pink Panther style heists to steal enemy technology such as tank or plane designs, or even research boosts to your industrial techs. You can orchestrate a coup in a nation if their stability is low enough and they have enough support for your style of government, which can be a great way to weaken a much stronger nation. Collaboration governments are available to communist or fascist nations and are an expensive but valuable operation which will reduce the surrender limit of a target nation and reduce resistance and increase compliance in the occupied lands you seize after a successful war. You can view your progress in the political menu under the Collaborations tab. This will tell you what your current level of collaboration will give you once you're victorious, with various bonuses such as increased factories, resources, and higher population being available. Each operation provides between 30 to 45% progress, so you may need to conduct this operation multiple times to get 100% strength and access all the bonuses. These are just a few of the available missions, but they all open up a range of fun new ways to try and get advantages over your opponent and make your games more interesting. To conduct an operation once you have the required intel strength and number of spies, click Prepare, ensure that you have the required equipment and factories available, assign your chosen spies, and click Prepare. If you're short of equipment, you can select the Commence When Ready button and it will automatically fire after you've met the requirements. You can also have the operation automatically repeat itself here. You can also go into the Recruit and Deploy menu and set the priority for equipment for your operations to high, so they get first dibs, allowing your operations to launch much sooner. Once the operation is complete, your spies will be available for use again unless they were captured, injured, killed,
or worse, expelled.
Your intel network is not only needed for operations and missions, but it also confers certain combat bonuses depending on its strength per state. A maximum strength intel network will buff your invasion defense for naval invasions and increase your planning speed, and can completely negate an enemy's planning bonus, all while making defending a front far easier. It also reduces entrenchment, making it easier for your troops to counterattack. Overall, a super fun DLC and one of my personal favorites, which adds a completely new mechanic and a whole new layer of complexity, strategy, and planning to the game. No step back. If you like tanks, and let's be honest, you play Hoi 4, so of course you like tanks, No Step Back gives us a whole new way to enjoy them with the tank designer, allowing you near limitless customization of how you make your armored vehicles, as well as adding in the officer core and extra flavor for the supply system and railways. If that's not enough, you also get greatly expanded focus trees for the Soviet Union, Poland, and the Baltic states. The Armor Research tab has also been revamped. Now you research the chassis that your tank design is to be based on, just like with the Navy, in the guns, and the Naval Designer. Each subsequent chassis has better base stats, and you can improve the engine and the armor, as well as unlock some other modules through these techs on the side here. The other modules you unlock, however, are spread out across the other research tabs. Your main armaments are found in the Artillery tab, with howitzers, cannons, and even anti-aircraft guns being available to fit on your tanks once you research the appropriate tech. In the Electronics tab, you unlock stabilizers, improved radios, and even gas turbine engines. In the support tab, you can unlock easy maintenance, and my personal favourite, dozer blades and flamethrowers, so you can live out your Sherman crocodile dreams. Researching mechanized technologies will unlock the half-track suspension, so you can make your Panzer IIIs have front wheels for some reason. If you have man the guns activated at the same time, you can also unlock amphibious tanks, allowing you to do such chaotic things as putting a pellet on a tiger tank, making the Schwimmpanzer Tiger, which definitely existed in real life and not just my Hoi 4 induced fever dreams. To create a new design, open the production tab, go to the armor menu, and create a variant of a research chassis. A design must have the 3 modules on the bottom, suspension, armor, and engines, and the first 2 on the top left being the turret and armament. It also needs a minimum speed of 4 km an hour, and you should be mindful of your reliability not dropping too low. 60 to 70% is a good range to aim for. How you mix and match this though, as well as the rest of the modules, is completely up to you. Designs do cost army XP, and as you add modules, the increasing cost will be shown on the save button. If you want an amphibious tiger tank with an AA gun, you can. If you want to make the famous Bob Semple tank, nothing is stopping you. The only thing that limits you is your imagination. The various tank classes you researched before are now determined by the turret and armament type you equip on a tank. To be able to designate a tank destroyer, it must have a heavy cannon and a fixed superstructure turret. A self-propelled artillery must have a close support gun or a howitzer, and SPAA needs an anti-aircraft gun. Once you've sorted the design, use this drop down below the design name to designate its type, and the tooltip will show you what buffs or debuffs this change applies. On the supply side, you now have a few more tools at your disposal. In the support tab, you can research armoured trains, which provide AA attack to protect your supply lines from enemy bombing. More interestingly though, you can build and deploy railway guns. That's right, Big Bertha is at your disposal. These are a great counter to forts and give a 10% combat bonus in the areas they cover. Just be careful the enemy doesn't cut them off or they'll be captured and turned against you. They're shown on the map like a division is, with this icon and the 3D model. They move along railway lines like any other train, and their range is shown by this dotted white line surrounding them. They don't stack, so if you have multiple, be sure to keep them spread out along your front line to maximize the bonuses. To move them, select the railway gun and then right click where you want it to go. So long as there's railway connection, they'll chug along to their destination. You can also assign them to an army to automatically follow them around if you don't want to manually keep moving them along with your army as they advance. A new air mission has been added too, called Logistic Strike. Using this, your CAS can wreak havoc on enemy supply lines, targeting their trucks, trains, and railway infrastructure, reducing the supply getting to enemy troops, and incurring steep out-of-supply penalties. Another crossover with Man the Guns is the addition of the Floating Harbour. You build these like you would convoys, and when setting up a naval invasion, you choose the new Floating Harbour Naval Invasion mission, which creates a temporary supply hub for your troops, which is especially handy when invading somewhere without a port. The Officer Corps has been given a fun new feature called the Spirits of the Army, Navy and Air Force. With just a small payment of XP, you can select a variety of army spirits to do all kinds of things, from making your division designs cheaper, to making certain stat increases more common for your generals, increasing entrenchment or army speed, or even reducing the research time for your Navy or Air Force modules, as well as much more. The options available to you also change depending on which doctrine you've chosen. Mobile Warfare gives bonuses to your armor and mechanized, as well as helping get Panzer Leader generals, while Grand Battle Plan can help you get terrain traits faster. I heard the ears of all the adaptable enjoyers perk up just now. No Step Back is a great addition to the game and a good place to start if you're not sure which DLC to get first. The army is integral to the Hoi 4 experience, so the customization allowed for your tanks and the upgrades to the spy system makes it well worth it. Buy Blood Alone. If you enjoyed the Navy and tank designers, then you'll absolutely love Buy Blood Alone. Not only does it include expanded focus trees for Italy, Switzerland, and Ethiopia, but you can also enjoy the same kind of customization with your aircraft using the new Plane Designer. This DLC also adds in new peace conference options, unit medals and citations, and embargoes. Just like the other two designers, the Plane Designer also brings an expanded research tab for your aircraft. You research the airframe and the various modules separately, allowing you to either hyper-specialize the planes for specific purposes, or create jack-of-all-trades type machines which can do a bit of everything. The small, medium, and large airframes remain the same, while there is now a whole lot of variety in your armaments and other equipment. Choose between light or heavy machine guns, or if you really want to pack a punch, add on some cannons. Survivability studies allows you to reinforce your planes with armor plating or self-sealing tanks, the latter coming at a cost of extra rubber. Aircraft construction unlocks dive brake modules for your CAS, as well as options to use lightweight materials to reduce the production cost of your planes, while sacrificing on their survivability. This is also where you can get floats for your naval bombers and turn medium bombers into formidable flying boats. Range improvements helps you extend the flight time of your aircraft either through disposable drop tanks or by increasing the size of the in-wing fuel tanks. You can research better torpedoes for your naval bombers as well. It's important to note that these are different to the ones you unlock through the Man the Guns research techs. For bombing purposes, you can use your standard run-of-the-mill bombs, or opt for armor-piercing bombs, which also have a decent amount of naval attack, as well as being good for close air support. Later, you can even utilize heavier bombs to strengthen your close air support and strategic bombing capabilities. A plane is only as good as its engine, and you can now not only research higher level engines, but equip single, twin, triple, quad, or even 6 engines on your planes, depending on the size of the airframe, of course. Researching rocket techs will now also give access to rocket engines, as well as the jet engines of the future. Your engineering tab is the main place to find all the new toys, such as air-to-air and air-to-ground radar, improved bomb sights, and radio navigation. You also have access to anti-tank cannons in the artillery tree as you research AT guns, for if you really want to ruin a T-34's day, and rocket rails through the rocket artillery for some extra ground attack. To create a design, go to the production menu, select an airframe, and create a variant. Every plane needs an engine, obviously, and a main armament, whether that is a bomb or some variety of gun is up to you. As you research later airframes, you get access to more module slots. Your armaments go along the top row. Certain types have limits of how many you can equip. For example, you can only have 1 torpedo on a small airframe. On the bottom row, you have a lot more freedom. You can add defensive turrets to give your bombers or even your fighters some extra air attack, extend your range with extra fuel tanks, or enhance your strategic bombing with all the gadgets and gizmos that you can cram onto your plane. It's important to note that the plane type will be based on the primary armament module. For example, a plane with a quad heavy MG in the primary slot will be a fighter, even if it has a bunch of bomb locks fitted, and vice versa. When making a design, the main thing to look for is that the weight does not exceed the thrust. If you're making a design with different modules such as bombs and torpedoes, the aircraft will only arm with the modules relevant to its mission. So you can select from the missions here to see what its stats will be for each different one. As always, creating a design costs air XP, which you can see the tally of on the save button, as well as the resources that are required for this design at its production cost. Your carrier aircraft are unlocked as you research each level of the small airframes. You'll need to create a design based off the carrier airframe as shown by this icon in the production menu, and produce and assign them to your carriers as you would have done before. Once your newly designed planes carry you to victory, you can ensure your enemies never trouble you again by implementing demilitarized zones in the peace deal under any puppeted or liberated countries, protecting your borders from future attack. You can decide to seize enemy ships for yourself, including any aircraft carriers or battleships, or give yourself resource rights, and take control of their factories as a punishment for daring to oppose you. Pairing this with puppeting a nation and then taking them for all they own can be a great way to shorten front lines with other hostile powers and protect your borders. After the war, you can reward your bravest divisions by giving out citations for a small amount of political power. To view your unit history, simply click on the unit icon, open the history tab, and view the record of this unit's bravery. This is where you can choose to issue citations for worthy combat actions. These confer permanent bonuses to this division in combat. They get more expensive to issue the more medals a unit has, and if you award the same medal multiple times, the bonus they get is reduced. But you can end up with some incredibly powerful decorated divisions which become really strong throughout the game. This is one of my favorite add-ins from a flavor and roleplay perspective, making it much easier to follow your favorite divisions throughout the war. Last but not least, if you're wanting to hinder an enemy nation that relies on you for resources, you can issue a trade embargo to prevent them from accessing the bounty of the earth that you so generously provide. Especially if you know that you'll likely end up at war with someone in the future, it can be a good way of getting a little edge. By Blood Alone is another one of those DLCs which adds a heap more customization into the game and makes you feel a lot more rewarded for winning an especially difficult war. And honestly, there's no better feeling in Hoi 4 than annexing the entire British fleet after thrashing the UK. Arms against tyranny. Have you ever felt that Hoi 4 needs more international arms dealing? Well, with the Arms Against Tyranny DLC, you can have that and more. In addition to focus trees for the Scandinavian countries, you'll also have access to the international marketplace where you can buy and sell equipment in exchange for economic capacity. Equipment designers have been replaced by military industrial organizations, or MIOs, allowing you to choose from a wide variety of options when upgrading various equipment types to better suit your playstyle. And once you've designed and purchased all the equipment that you can think of, you can put them to even better use in the hands of your highly trained special forces, which now benefit from unique doctrines available to each branch. You can access the international market through this tab, and when you open it, you'll see 2 sub-menus, one for buying and one for selling. Under the buy menu, you can sort by equipment type, whether it's guns and artillery, tanks, or aircraft, as well as convoys. And then by a subtype as well. So if you just want to buy infantry equipment or artillery, whatever it may be, It's easy to filter by that type. You can also sort by the amount and the price. To buy equipment, it will cost you economic capacity, which is gained either by selling your own equipment or filled by some of your civilian factories for a set period of time, depending on the cost of your order and how many factories you want to assign. It's important to note that the cost of equipment can be changed when adding it to the market, but there's no supply and demand pricing per se. Equipment will have the same value in 1936 as it will in 1945. When you click on an equipment type, you can choose how much of the stockpile that you want to buy, which will then tell you the cost here. An equipment delivery takes 30 days, and the number of deliveries is just a multiple of that. So 2 deliveries will take 60 days to arrive. You can assign more civs to the order to reduce this. However, these factories will be out of action for as long as it takes for them to generate the cost in economic capacity. You can assign a maximum of 15 civs per order, and the delivery will still follow the standard supply routes, meaning that you will need convoys if it's to be shipped overseas. Once you send the purchase request, the selling nation will accept, and the order will show in the international market menu. This easily tells you how many factories are in use, how many deliveries have been made out of the total, and the amount of equipment which has been delivered. When you open the sell menu, it will show you any equipment that you've currently added to the market for purchase. To do so, click the Add Equipment to Market button, select the equipment type and the quantity. You can add multiple types of equipment at once if you like, and this is where you can set the price. It's a very simple modifier. High is 25% more expensive, low is 25% cheaper. At the start of the game, when there's minimal equipment for sale, you can get away with selling at a high price a lot easier, I find. Once that's been decided, click Add, and this equipment is now available for sale, and it won't be used when you create divisions or if you need to reinforce them. This stockpile is completely separate to your logistics tab stockpile. You can sell equipment to any nation that you have market access with. In the market access button here, you can see all the nations, and by default in the market options, the request is sent and accepted automatically as soon as you have a positive opinion with a nation. As we play, we'll see the purchase requests come in as a notification. Select them to view the proposed deal, how much the nation wants to buy, how many deliveries it will take, and the economic capacity we will gain. Once you accept it, it will be shown in the international market as a sale contract for you to monitor. In the market options, you can also turn on auto accept purchase request to save yourself on the notifications. As the requests to buy things come in, it will just be accepted and go straight into the menu. The economic capacity you gain from arms deals can be used either for the purchase of your own equipment, or most commonly, it's automatically applied as a construction boost in your construction tab. You can see your current total at the top of the international market menu, and when we begin construction, you can see that we are getting a modifier from the economic capacity surplus we have. As a smaller nation, the marketplace can be a great way to get some equipment fast and early to build up an army where you lack the mills to do so. As a larger nation, flooding the market with your equipment can be an easy ticket to getting extra boosts to your early game civ building, especially if it's just old equipment that would be sat there not being used. Speaking of equipment, the MIOs that replace equipment designers can be used to add a whole bunch of different modifiers for your equipment. Most countries will have multiple MIOs which can be customized by equipment type, for example, the various classes of aircraft or ships. When you click on the details button here, you can view all the available traits that will be applied to the equipment that this MIO is assigned to. You can also easily see on the left the bonuses as a result of these traits, as well as any research bonuses that you can use the MIO for, as well as the political power cost to do so. To earn these traits, you need to gain funds, which is essentially the experience points for your MIOs. You gain these either through your focus tree, assigning your MIOs to assist with research, or through production. To assign an MIO to an existing production line, simply select this button here above the daily production amount, and then select from the list. You can also add an MIO to a new production line through this new pop-up prompt. There's no cost for you to have an MIO assigned to equipment lines, and any production efficiency modifiers that it gives will automatically be applied to that production line. As you build equipment, the MIO will gain funds until you unlock a trait point to assign. Once you unlock a trait point, click on the notification to bring you back to the details section and select the trait that you wish to purchase. You can also hold left shift and click multiple traits to queue them up for automatic assignment. Just be sure that you queue them up in order. You'll need to apply an MIO directly to your equipment to get the majority of the bonuses, however. To do so, simply go to your equipment, create a variant, select the MIO button, and choose one from the list. For 5 XP, you can create the new equipment variant, and then just head to your production menu and change your production line to the new design. To use an MIO to help with your research, select a technology, and then when you click the research button, the list of MIOs that you can choose from will appear. The tooltip will tell you what bonuses each MIO will apply, and this will use a small amount of political power, 0.1 per day, but for either a 5 or 10% research boost, and sometimes even changes for equipment stats, it can often be worth it. Not all research techs can benefit from an MIO, and you can easily tell which ones by this little conical flask in the corner of the research tech icons. Once your MIO has reached level 5, that is, you've upgraded it with 5 different traits, you can unlock the policies, which allow you to spend a small amount of political power for further boosts to your MIOs, such as greater research bonuses or increased funds, or even more stat bonuses to your equipment. Now you've researched advanced equipment, used your military-industrial complexes to upgrade it and make them even better, and bought the best or worst equipment there is on offer from the international market, you want to place this equipment in the hands of your special forces, which you can now upgrade and customize through the new Special Forces doctrines. You can access this at the bottom of the officer core, and it's broken up into 3 separate doctrines: Mountaineers, Marines, and Paratroopers. Each doctrine requires Army, Navy, or Air XP respectively, but they are cheaper than your standard doctrines to account for this. By default, each country can only choose one Special Forces doctrine to specialize. Once you choose the first doctrine of a branch, it will lock you out of the rest. You can unlock another Special Forces branch when you're at war and after 1940, and certain countries can unlock a third one through their national focus tree, but for the most part you will have to choose between your preferred branches that you want to focus on. Each doctrine unlocks a unique type of support company which can be used in any of your divisions, not just your Special Forces, and are usually an upgrade on an existing support. For Mountaineers, it's Rangers, a new type of recon which provides combat bonuses in a variety of different terrains, as well as combat buffs. Marines unlock Pioneers, a variation on Engineers which specialise in providing huge combat bonuses to marshes, forts, rivers, and later amphibious invasions. Paratroopers can unlock the Airborne Light Armour Support Company, allowing you to add some serious firepower to your paratroopers, as well as get some movement buffs to navigate more rapidly behind enemy lines. These new support companies get stronger with later doctrines becoming unlocked and allow for some more interesting combinations and interactions with other units, or allow you to choose what their strengths will be. For example, you can choose between jungle specialists or shore parties for Pioneers, making them markedly more effective either in the jungle or amphibious invasions. Likewise, you can tailor your rangers to be more effective and proficient in snow or in mountains, and later you can choose to have your rangers give a 20% soft attack bonus to line artillery. Each of the doctrines have multiple paths, usually with bonuses geared towards different types of gameplay. Aside from the options we just covered, your paratroopers can either damage factories and infrastructure in states they drop into, or they can reduce the org of enemy divisions in that state, making your attacks much easier. You can make your Marines far more effective at combat, especially when paired with artillery, or you can substitute them for Marine Commandos, who can extract from coastal tiles without requiring a port, allowing for hit-and-run tactics. The final path of each doctrine, for the most part, has you choose between strengthening your special forces through their combat stats, or increasing your special forces cap, essentially giving you the choice between quality or quantity. Overall, these doctrines can greatly increase the effectiveness and, most importantly, the fun of your Special Forces doctrines. Arms Against Tyranny brings a really fun dynamic to the game with MIOs and especially the international marketplace, so if you're someone who enjoys playing smaller nations or just enjoys Special Forces in general, it's well worth picking up. Götterdämmerung. The latest DLC from Paradox, Götterdämmerung, brings revamped focus trees for Germany and Hungary, as well as new trees for Austria, Belgium, and the Congo. On top of that, we also get wonder weapons available through special projects, and the ability to disrupt them with raids. Special projects allow you to research a whole range of new and existing technologies, such as super heavy artillery, helicopters, and land cruiser tanks, as well as, yes of course, nuclear weapons, and so much more. Some existing techs have moved to the special projects area, such as radar, jet engines, and flamethrowers, but there are also a bunch of new techs which give support companies for your divisions, such as armored engineers and motorized military police, as well as new modules such as the command center for your land cruiser tanks if you have no step back. One of the first things you'll notice when you get this DLC is these new little icons on the map, showing the locations of your experimental facilities. You can construct new ones and even multiple of the same through the construction tab, although these are a significant investment. If you annex a nation which has any facilities, then they will make a fine addition to your collection. When building a new facility, you'll need to be mindful of the supply in the areas you are wanting to place it. Classic Hoi 4 style, avoid the red areas, go for the green. You can also only have one facility per state. The research menu now has an extra tab where you can view your experimental facilities once they're up and running, and you can access this also by just right-clicking on the tech icon on the toolbar. Here you can see the types of facilities, how many available projects there are, as well as how many breakthrough points each type of facility has. To research a project, you will need breakthrough points for the relevant type of facility, which is gained from the scientists assigned to the facilities when they are not researching projects, as well as from researching relevant technologies in your normal research tab. This is also influenced by the supply level to your factory, as well as the experience level of your scientists. You can view your recruitable roster here, which will show their specialization, as well as any traits and their experience level. You can also recruit new scientists at the cost of political power. To start a project, assign a scientist to your facility and click its folder to choose from the different options available. This will show you any that are currently available based on your previously researched projects and technologies, as well as the time they will take, any bonuses that will apply, and resource or tech requirements. The facility icon and the number here denotes how many breakthrough points you will need to begin this project. Once you've made your choice, you can see what the project will unlock and simply hit start to begin. Now the project folder will show you the output, which is what you get at the end, as well as iterations which occur as the project progresses. Each iteration will bring a reward or a failure of some kind. These range from additional progress, experience for your scientists, or even combat bonuses and research boosts. Some iterations will require you to make a decision on the direction of the project, for example, whether to focus on range or armaments for your cruiser submarines. Once completed, certain projects will show themselves in the research tab with these cool looking borders, showing they are now available for standard researching. Others will be automatically completed and available for you to use for your production, such as super heavy artillery or railway guns, as well as any modules for tanks, ships or planes. You can always view previously researched projects with the history button here and go through the folder for a reminder of what you've unlocked. As you research projects, more will unlock and become available. Get far enough into the naval tree and you unlock naval torpedoes, for example. This is obviously pretty powerful and your enemies have access to this the same as you do. Luckily for you, there is an option to disrupt the enemy projects, and that is raids. F9 or this little button here will take you to the new raids overview, where you can target not only enemy facilities, but other critical infrastructure such as dams, mines, naval bases and oil fields. You can conduct these raids in a variety of ways, either with aircraft, with your paratroopers, marines, or through nuclear strikes. All of these require you to have completed various projects or research techs, which you can see from the tooltip on a raid icon. You can view different raid options on the map. Unavailable raids are shown by the grey targets, while the ones you can complete are shown by a red reticle. Click on one of these to start the planning process. First, you'll need to select the unit you will use, whether that's an air wing or a special forces division, and then their origin, whether that is an airport or a naval base. Now you can see the success chance, which you can increase or decrease by altering the level of risk. This is also affected by your intel for certain types of raids. A stronger spy network will lead to a greater chance of success. Once you've set these, gathered the required equipment, and have enough command power, you can create the raid, which will now start preparing. If you want it to launch as soon as it's ready, select the auto launch option. You can also change the failure chance threshold at which the raid will auto launch. Setting this to almost 0 means the raid will only launch when there is a tiny chance of failure, while setting this to very high means the raid will launch as soon as it's ready. You can click back onto the target at any time to view its progress and information, and it will now also be shown in the top right of the raid's view, as well as there being a cool looking ghostly plan icon on the map now. Once your raid is prepared, you'll get a notification and you can watch your raid go, as well as view the report once it's ended. Certain raids are contingent on other conditions being met. For example, the Pathfinder raid is available when you have a naval invasion preparing, as well as having paratroopers and support planes available. The tooltips for each raid will tell you what you are lacking if you're having trouble commencing the raid. Just as you can harass the enemy and bomb their buildings, they can do this to you as well. When an incoming raid is detected, a siren will sound and you'll get this notification. You'll be able to view the raid location, and the tooltip will show you the chance you have of defending it, as well as how you can fight it off if you're below 100% chance of repelling it, which is typically increasing your air or naval supremacy, decreasing resistance, and increasing the number of divisions you have. To help with this, there is now a new feature in the Area Defense Order to defend special project facilities. There are now also new buildings on the map called landmarks. You can't build these, but certain nations have them, and they provide unique bonuses to them. They're not targeted through raids, but once certain conditions are met under the right circumstances, they can be hit and destroyed. If they're also captured through your usual conquering, you'll deny the benefits to the enemy, though you won't benefit from them yourself. In addition to the special projects and raids, Paradox has also added a mega quality of life improvement with this DLC, and that is increased filters in the focus trees, including highlighting historical focuses. This is effective for all the countries which come with the new DLC, with more to come in the future. Overall, this DLC adds in some of the most fun and interesting features we've ever had, as well as a crazy amount of interplay with the other DLCs. It's an absolute must-have to round out your collection. Hopefully now you're comfortable adding any of these DLCs to your repertoire and knowing how to use all the features that they come with. If you've enjoyed this video or you have a favorite feature from the expansions, please be sure to let us know in the comments. Once again, my name is Hammer Time, and be sure to subscribe to the Hearts Vine 4 YouTube channel for more, and thank you so much for watching.